Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Gamertag Radio.
All right, so we're back here at Gamertag Radio. Now, this one is an interesting one because I was excited to hear the announcement. At the same time, I wanted to see Brittney's reaction on this. Welcome back, Britt.
Hello.
So it's Resident Evil Veronica was announced during Summer Game Fest, actually the actual press conference.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, Britt. So, like, when they showed the trailer, you knew right away it was Resident Evil? It took you a while? Because for me, I noticed because of the floor. I looked at the floor, and it's similar to, like, the past Resident Evil games.
that RE engine is pretty recognizable. Obviously, this was something that we were all expecting during the showcase, but we didn't know when it was going to happen. So the first giveaway for me was the cafe sign and one of the opening shots. I mean, you have the opening shot first of like the city, and then it kind of zooms in a little bit, and then you see a cafe sign. And I'm like, cafe, that's a typical ass thing you would see in France. And so now, to give some context to that, the opening of Code Veronica takes place in this building. I'm pretty sure you remember this cutscene. I'm sure everyone remembers this cutscene if you've played it. Claire is outrunning a helicopter. She is being shot at by this helicopter. She eventually drops her gun at one point, grabs it, falls, and shoots a barrel, and it explodes. It's a badass scene. It's crazy, but I love it. All of that takes place in Paris. That's not really talked about a whole bunch, and there's really no other context given to that, why she was there other than to find Chris, but what brought her there? What did she find? How did she get there? We don't know any of that. So I have always hoped, Danny, that we would get some more context to that opening. So anyway, this cutscene opens, and I see cafe, and I'm like, okay, well, that's a typical thing you would freaking see in France. And then I saw the female hands. They looked female. They were very, very slender. And then like you, I saw the RE engine. I recognized it. And then as soon as that old lady opened the door and she goes, I was like, this is it. This is it.
You knew right away. Man. You were like, okay, this is going down now.
And I've watched this trailer now probably about 10 times. And I am finding new things every single time I watch it. As far as like, do we get any major new info from this trailer? No. I mean, I have a whole list of hope streams and predictions I would like to see from Resident Evil Veronica. First thing first, they obviously dropped the code from that. I think that just kind of makes sense, especially with the way they're titling Resident Evil games lately. You know, you have Requiem, you got Village, and now you have Veronica. Keep it simple, whatever. But we did get some cool shots in that reveal trailer. I'll keep this all spoiler free, obviously. But one of the interesting things we saw was we saw the gold Lugers, which is a part of a pretty cool puzzle. We saw the dragonfly. We saw a glimpse of Alfred Ashford, who was one of the main bad dudes in Code Veronica. Some fun throwbacks. Like so far, it looks like it will be good. Now we got to talk with Capcom a little bit. They
didn't show anything. We gotta talk about that. We haven't seen. There was no footage. It was what we got to see at the Summer Game Fest. This was more like a Q&A type thing.
It was a Q&A with one of the leads on the game. And it's hard. And Dana, I know you can understand this. It's hard when you're such a fan of a series. You have all these nitty-gritty questions that you want to ask. But, you have to share the Q&A with all the other people in the room with you. And so, I mean, I wanted to talk about, what are you going to do with Steve? And some people have, since then. I wanted to talk about how are you going to expand on the game now that, there's been so many games after that. Like, I wanted to get in the weeds, but I did get to ask one question. And basically what it was, we see, Claire's now in Paris. And we see there's this scene in Paris. Like, are you expanding upon the original in that opening to give it more context? And what he said was, like, we are really trying to get into the minds of the characters at this point. And I'm not quoting this word for word, but, we're trying to get more into the mind of the characters. We are trying to figure out what drives them, and we're trying to make it more realistic and make it make more sense. And he said, just because this is where the trailer started doesn't necessarily mean that is where the game will begin. That's not necessarily the beginning cutscene. And so I have a lot of questions. Obviously, I could get real in the weeds here. I won't. But I'm going to be real curious to see how they expand upon the narrative, what they change, especially with characters like Alfred and Steve, who is such a tragic character with such a tragic backstory. But his voice acting makes him sound, no one takes him seriously. So a lot of potential with this one. I think this game has the most potential to really get I love it, but to really improve it. I think like with Resident Evil 2, like already a masterpiece. Even 3 I thought was really good. 4, like need I say more? Code Veronica has some issues. Very good game, and I still love it, but it has some issues. And so it's going to be really awesome to see how they improve it in this remake.
Yeah. I'm excited to play it. Would love to learn more about it. I was disappointed they didn't show anything else besides what we got to see at Summer Game Fest, because usually they'll have an announcement, like a company will have an announcement, then behind closed doors we get to see a little bit more.
Yeah.
But there was none of that. It was just an image and just a Q&A, and that's it. I'm like, this is disappointing.
Why
do you think?
How far away is it?
Yeah, is that? But did they say 2027 still, or there was
I
no
was just
date?
looking that. I want to confirm. Yeah, I think it's just 2027.
I don't see this, because usually Resident Evil games been the past couple of years has been coming out early during the year.
Yeah,
I don't know with this one.
And usually when Capcom announces Resident Evil, it's right around the corner, relatively speaking. So it could be a matter of, they want to see where other games fall, with a little gem called GTA kind of shaking the entire industry up. But I also feel like, well, you're Resident Evil. Like, how much do you really, obviously you don't go against GTA, but you probably can slap your big Resident Evil schlong on the table and, the waves will part for you. But
yeah.
I mean, there's been info coming out from the Q&A. It's going to be third person. It's going to, Chris, I think, will still be involved. There's little tidbits coming out, nothing completely earth-shattering, I would say, that we've been able to glean from this info. But.
Yeah, I hopefully at Gamescom we'll probably learn more about what's next, and also Tokyo Game Show, which is happening sometime in September.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But at least I want to give a shout out to Capcom for giving us the opportunity to check it out. The Q&A.
To talk about it.
Talk about it behind closed doors. That was really cool. It was very dark in that room, and once I got out, like the sun.
Oh yeah,
it was very dark.
It was really, really dark. But no, I mean, so far, like what we've seen, Claire looks real good. Her model looks real good. I'm very excited. I haven't seen any huge red flags yet, which, I mean, obviously we haven't seen a lot, and that trailer was freaking awesome. But
yeah.
I'll
mention, and I hope they keep that excitement where. The intro of Code Veronica, to me, is one of my favorite intros in just gaming.
That scene, yeah.
That scene was just incredible, especially when it came out during that time, the Sega Dreamcast. I hope they keep it the same vibe and not change it too much, because that was iconic, so...
I'm glad you said that, because that's the thing, is Code Veronica also has Code Veronica has this different kind of vibe to it. There's some cheesy moments. For one, the antagonists are, well, one of them in particular, very wacky, quirky dude, and you don't take him seriously. You have Steve Burnside, if he's in the game, which, okay, he's going to be in the game. He's a 17-year-old, very, very immature boy. And at the time, he talked kind of like silly, right? The way he said words, it's a whole thing. If you played Code Veronica, there's these crazy like action scenes that almost feel like they were pulled straight out of an anime. So I'm with you. I hope they could keep that tone, kind of like they did with Resident Evil 4, right?
Yeah.
You always had that cheesiness. But to go back to what you said about that opening scene, if you look at the very first shot of that reveal trailer, you're going to see the overview of the entire city. And if you look in the very back, there is a building there, and it's a little bit more illuminated than the others. It's very tall. It's the tallest building there. And that looks like that building.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. There's all of the windows. And it's the only one I can see, like, where the hell, and it looks like that could be it. So I think somehow, and I hope she makes her way, and I think that's the Umbrella facility. She makes her way there, and then,
Well, fingers crossed on that. Fingers crossed. All right, Britt, but thank you for recording this conversation.
Hell yeah.
About Resident Evil Veronica. And we'll be right back with more content here on Gamer Tag Radio.